Greetings loved ones and welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be drawing some sexy Skeksis. Now, I originally recorded this video over the span of 4 days, and the first part of this video, the audio got absolutely corrupted, so you've got a voiceover instead. But what am I drawing specifically today? It is my Skeksis OC based off of the Skeksis from Dark Crystal. Here is my OC's reference sheet. He's called Skekweed because I thought that was funny. But I don't really like this funny sort of rave party-goer outfit he's got here, so I'm drawing something a little more classic, a little more lore accurate, inspired by this Victorian gown up the top here. Of course, you gotta add in some flair to it, and I want to, stick to his canon lore as a Skeksis who does not live on Thra, which is the world that the Dark Crystal takes place on. His story is that he got a little mixed up along the way, all of the other Skeks, they went to Thra, he got a little mixed up, took the wrong flight, ended up on Earth, specifically Glasgow, and did a bunch of drugs. I was originally going to draw 2 Skeksis in this episode, however, I bit off way more than I can chew, so you're getting 1, but damn, I like it. I'm trying out this new brush, it's the mapping pen. I don't know, I can't see from far away. But I just liked it, and I liked how the tapered edge looked, and I thought it had almost a comic book style to it. I just wanted to see what it looked like with the Skeksis here, and I love it. So I continue using it just to get these dramatic and very dainty lines. I want this to be his sort of newer reference sheet going forward, and I think I'll continue to use this brush for more of the more ugly characters I have. At first here you can see that I did some basic cross shading where the nostril is. I wanted to go in and do cross hatching, but I thought that's a bit too much, so I'll just go in and do some basic shading, basic rendering, and then I went in and just went absolute ham and did way more than I thought I would. I'm really happy with how it turned out. As you can see, I'm just making this really saggy, really ugly neck. I might actually keep the line art and just colour it some basic grayscales and maybe print it out. I'm not sure if I would be able to sell prints of this, copyright issues. I don't want the Jim Henson company coming to me in the middle of the night, knocking on my door like, hey, I hear you got Skeksis for sale. But here I'm just sort of realising that I've made the clothes look a bit like ball sacks. But you know what? That fits in with the Skeksis vibe. With this outfit I was going for that Victorian Mary Poppins style dress meets a bunch of 80s retro heroin users, specifically, from Glasgow. Which there's plenty of, by the way. There is a mystic to go alongside him. I haven't drawn him yet, but his name is... It's either gonna be Meth or Alk, being alcoholic or something. I want them all to just be funny characters. I did make the anatomy more appealing in this one. I say that as I draw a bunch of saggy, wrinkly arms. They just look really gross, but he's a lot more naturally figured here. He's not clearly a digigrade creature. He's taking care of himself, The other Skeksis, they don't know what's happened to him. To them, he doesn't exist. And vice versa, he doesn't think they exist. That's my headcanon for this character. Therefore, he's completely separate and completely insane. Here's me really leaning into that ball sack detail. It doesn't help that later on I go in to colour it a very ball sackish colour. I've really just been popping off with the dresses recently. I mean, I don't draw dresses much. I can count on one hand maybe the amount of times I've drew dresses on a character, and this is probably the 4th time. But I'm really happy with how it turns out. And I am going to go on to the second night soon, So you will have a jump cut to me actually drawing in real time and making commentary, but I think I might just voice over some more stuff. I know this is very niche, but I like it. And hey, you're here, you have to put up with it. If you don't like it, you can go watch another video. But I don't doubt any of my other videos are going to be any more normal than this. So jump cuts coming up in a second, literally 24 hours pass, but for you, it's just a lovely little second. Wow, just as I promised, it was only take you a second. Just came back after a day of work, and man, this bitch is ugly. But in a good way, because that's what we're going for. I'd love to put some like slutty text in the background, kind of akin to, you know, his original Skexy and I Know It t-shirt. But just a little more, you know, elegant, I suppose. And it's me again, voiceover time, because the audio still sucks, but not as bad as I thought it was. Anyway, my computer is really chugging hard trying to render this video, so I'm voicing over and I cannot see what's playing, but I think I'm adding jewellery at this point and going on to the god-awful colouring process and then the shading process, my favourite. But I just wanted to like mention a few things that I had in the original voiceover. I came up with the idea of naming these ball sack birds if I ever had to avoid copyright by not using the term Skeksis. So enjoy my ball sack bird. Yes, I'm very creative. What is that? Is that alliteration? I don't know. Yeah, I studied Advanced Higher English. I don't know what alliteration is. I don't know the other one. Rhyming? Sounds cool. I like it. Ball sack bird. You know what I've discovered through my re-emergence of liking the Dark Crystal to a normal degree and not an obsessive degree? That the people who are obsessed with it usually have one thing in common. They're either like real fans of, you know, 80s dark fantasy, or their parents didn't love them. And I say that coming from a genuine place in my heart. The people who absolutely adore Skeksis, and I mean in a kind of freaky way, I understand. I'm okay with it. But goddamn, just goddamn. I've also saw some of those like thirst traps for Skeksis, where people draw them as, surprise surprise, little white anime boys. As if the Skeksis wouldn't be the most ancient, wrinkled, decrepit humans ever. They're pensioners, and they absolutely hate people. Any kind of people who don't benefit them directly. And you're drawing them as a little white twink. I'm confused, but they always do this. This always fucking happens. At least draw them, at minimum, middle-aged, and just looking divorced. That's the main thing. Skeksis all looking divorced. Like they're through with their second marriage, debating whether to go into a third one, or just drowning their sorrows in like chatting to sex hotline operators or something. I don't know. They just look like that kind of perverted, miserable kind of bird. And therefore would translate well into a human of that nature as well. I also think this is the point where I realised I'm going a little too hard in the shading. I need to calm down because I wanted this to have a sort of blocky, easy texture, and I was going to draw other Skeksis and had other ideas, and I just wanted to get it all done, and then I just sort of hyper-focused on this. Which I'm not upset about because I really like the finished piece, and if you want to skip ahead to it, be my guest. Because this video is a little bit quite long, but hey, all the footage here is sped up by 1000%. And that was as fast as my computer would allow it before my fans started squeaking. Actually, as we speak, I'm getting a Gelfling OC made. It's on quite a basic style, but I would like to go in and, you know, add my touch to it, because the way that Gelfling look is very specific. And I like, I'd say, about half of them, and the other half I'm like, damn, that is really ugly. So the OC that I'm getting made, don't know what I'm gonna call her yet. She is a Doosan, because, you know, got that Navi vibes, but not as basic as Avatar. And also they appreciate death. Lovely. How wholesome. So she's gonna be like a herbalist kind of character. I'll probably end up drawing her as well as the mystic that goes alongside Skekweed. But I'll actually keep my Gelfling, you know, looking somewhat canonical, because there's not many Skeksis, but there was at one time many Gelflings, so she can fit right in as a herbalist from the Doosan clan. I want to use this voiceover time to just tell you a little story about something that happened at my work. So I was talking to my colleague about something random, and the topic of evolution came up. Now, I knew my co-worker had a Christian upbringing. Of what denomination, I do not know, and to this day I still do not know, and I don't care enough to ask. But we're just talking about how, like, some species of snakes you can actually still see some leg bones just underneath their scales, of course, they don't really protrude. I think maybe some species, maybe some vipers or pythons, you can actually see tiny bits popping up through the scales. But they don't technically have legs, it's just the remnants of what they've evolved from. And my co-worker was like, yeah, I knew that because they taught it in the Bible. And I was like, do you not maybe think that the people who wrote the Bible, because let's be real here, God did not write that Bible. A bunch of people wrote it, world's first fan fiction. But the people who wrote it maybe thought, this animal looks like it should have had legs. Maybe at one point it did. And then they, you know, linked that back to their hyperfixation of this God character, and it was like, oh, God took away its legs because it seduced two people into eating an apple, etc. And I was just like, what the fuck? I think what bothered me the most was this co-worker believes in dinosaurs and, like, space and physics, believes in, like, interstellar time travel and all this fucking shit, but draws the line at evolution. Yeah, we can go through black holes, but no evolution. Yeah, I think it's gonna do it for today. Again, I'll be back in a second. It's gonna be like 24 hours for me, hell yeah. And I come back and I start drawing again. And at this point I do not say anything for the entire like 40 minutes of this segment, because I'm just like, get it over with. I'm at that stage where I'm fed up looking at it. It's pissing me off, but it looks so good, so I had to continue. And that's really just the summary of art. I can go away for months and not touch art, and then come back and draw something really bad, and then draw something okay, and then I get back into it. And sometimes I don't get back into it and I just sort of force myself into it. Being an artist is like living in a manipulative relationship within your own head. The things you make, you judge heavily, and it hurts to make, because you're sitting down for like 40 minutes every day trying to get over this hurdle, knowing that it'll probably be worth it in the end, but if it isn't, oh god, you're gonna feel it deep down in your soul. I'm just thankful this turned out well. I actually drew something before this and recorded it for about 20 minutes, but because I didn't use a reference pose, it looked like crap, and I couldn't find the good reference pose for what I was looking for, so I just trashed it and pretended like I did this first time around. No, the glamour, the absolute mystery behind it, it's all been shown. I'm a fraud. This is not the first Skeksis piece I've done this week. I tried, I failed. I went, sulked for 20 minutes, came back, started re-recording, and I drew this. Absolute Chad moment. Big brain moment, big, thick, strong artist hand moment. I don't want to sound like I'm sucking myself off here because I'm actually at a stage now where I'm happy with what I'm doing. Like, I was experimenting a lot here with brushes that I don't use and I'm happy with it. It's still my style, it still looks good, and it's still true to what I had drawn previously. I thought when I drew that reference sheet for Skekweed roughly a year ago, maybe a year and a half, that couldn't get any better. That was the creme de la creme, the finest Skeksis art that I could ever do. And then I went out here and made this absolute delicious diva who looks like a ball sack. Absolutely fantastical. I want to talk a little more about just the dark crystal in general. I mentioned how I like it to a normal degree, and I do. I don't obsess over it, mainly because there's not robots in it. But I like the Skeksis. I'm team Skeksis. Sorry if that offends anyone. Love Aughra. Haven't read the comics. I would like to. Love the puppetry, because I like that sort of puppetry. I'm not a fan of like Muppets puppetry. Practical effects, oh, gorgeous. It's just something I really sink my teeth into, and I've appreciated more over the years. Of course, I love my CGI, can't get enough of it. But when I look in, say, my Pacific Rim art book and I see the practical effects that have been used, it's just so beautiful. I love it. A lot of people say it's a dying art, and in some ways I agree. But at the same time, you're always going to need some practicality. You need something there, you need sustenance, whether that's just a explosion on set that's actually just the most pitiful smoke machine ever. Even if you're gonna add something in on top of it, you still need something, a base. But when the practical effects is the whole thing, that's when it's becoming more rare. I've got plans. I want to make this character here as a fursuit, because with the proportions I'm drawing right now here, I can pull it off, and if it looks bad up close, that's fine because the Skeksis look ugly anyway, so it's gonna look fine from afar. I would love to just go out to like Comic-Con and stuff dressed as that, but I don't want to be mistaken as a character from the Dark Crystal. Specifically, I want people to know that I'm just sort of doing a satirical play on that. Because people would recognise that, like older people would recognise that, oh, that's a Dark Crystal bird. But it's hard to explain to them it's my OC without saying, hi, I'm a furry, and here's my OC. I don't want to have to go down that route. Who knows, I might not ever do it. I have many projects that I don't start. And now I've went and had another time skip. I'm just gonna do a voiceover for the rest of this because I don't really speak. Again, I'm getting to my wit's end drawing this. And now I'm moving on to the shading of the ball sack part of the dress. I feel like I could have chosen different colours, but in the moment when I was originally colour picking things, this felt right and I liked it, so I've went with it. I still think it looks okay. It doesn't have to be pretty. We all know that Skeksis aren't exactly the epitome of beauty. I'd like to get some moisturiser in there and just let them get all smoothed out. This is what happens when you don't take care of your skin. When you don't use anti-dandruff shampoo, you're gonna look like a Skeksis. And I know from personal experience, this is exactly what you look like. You're a ball sack too. As with most of the videos I record, this is pre-recorded. I don't know if the video I posted before this did really well or really bad. It's just my life schedule. I have to pre-record videos or else I will just be burnt out to the ground. So I don't know when I'm going to do another Skeksis video. I don't know if I ever will. I just thought this is something I'm passionate about right now. I want to share with you. I don't think I've seen something like this online, specifically a Speedpaint for a Skeksis piece of artwork. And of course an OC as well. Regardless, I'm feeling hashtag blessed for all the support that I've gotten. Oh god, I cringed so hard there. It's just made me so much more inspired to put out content that I care about. But at the same time, it makes me think, I had that big hit a few weeks ago. Will it ever happen again? Maybe not. But the people who chose to stick around like what I post, and that's enough to keep me going. I may eventually have to cut it down to one upload every 2 weeks, but you know, I'm fine with that. It leaves me not stressing about it all the time. And I'm not stressed about making videos. I'm stressed when a video doesn't work out. And most of the videos I've got planned out should work out. But I do have some long-term projects. That first suit head video that literally nobody watched, that's gonna get worked upon soon, and I've got other things in the work as well. Longer videos, shorter videos, I've got it all planned out, don't worry about it. And that's something I just have to keep up, just not worrying about it. So at this point I've just sort of went back and forgot that I've needed to do the jewellery. I don't like the background that I've got at the moment. I was surprised at how the golden accents of the jewellery and dangly pieces actually turned out. I thought they'd get faded away. But no, I like them. And yeah, this is the finished product. That's it, take it all in, take the Skeksis in and his beauty. I might make this a t-shirt design for myself, and hey, maybe in the future this might be available for you too. But I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next week.